Story that sounds straight out of the Netflix Narco. A notorious drug lord known for decapitating his victims is seemingly missing from federal custody.
The story of Edgar Valdez Villarreal, also known as La Barbie, is one that leaves many people stunned. It is a story that seems to be ripped straight from a crime drama. Born in Laredo, Texas, Edgar had a life that many would envy. He grew up in a suburban environment, surrounded by a loving family. His childhood was one of comfort, with a strong support system from his parents and siblings. His brother went on to become a successful businessman, while his sister studied law, showing that success ran in the family. Edgar himself was a talented athlete, playing as a linebacker for the Laredo United High School football team, where he earned the nickname La Barbie due to his chiseled good looks. Despite the promising future that awaited him, Edgar chose a different path. During his teenage years, he started to stray from the path of success. He began selling marijuana for extra money, and this marked the beginning of his descent into the world of crime. His early brushes with the law included charges of drunk driving and public drunkenness, and at the age of 18, he was arrested for homicide after speeding in a truck and running over a middle school counselor. Despite this serious charge, he was never indicted. Edgar's father recognized the warning signs and offered to finance his college education, hoping to steer him away from a life of crime. But Edgar declined this offer and chose the life that his parents had worked so hard to save him from. He became a marijuana dealer in his local area, and his criminal activities continued to escalate. At the age of 20, he was detained with 80 pounds of marijuana, facing a potential 7-year prison sentence. However, a lenient judge gave him 5 years of probation instead. He was also caught drunk driving at 22, but once again, he managed to escape with just a fine. Edgar's good looks and charm often worked in his favor, allowing him to avoid the harsh consequences of his actions. As he expanded his criminal activities, he began dealing cocaine, targeting customers in New Orleans and Memphis. He was shipping large quantities of cocaine, sometimes as much as 150 to 180 kilograms, and making a significant amount of money. Edgar lived a flashy lifestyle, driving expensive cars, frequenting bars and nightclubs, and becoming a hit with the ladies due to his appearance. But by the age of 24, Edgar realized that the lucrative rewards of drug dealing came with significant risks. One of his trusted workers turned out to be an informant, leading to an indictment against him. Faced with the prospect of prison, Edgar decided to flee. He crossed the Rio Grande River from Laredo, Texas, to Nuevo Laredo, Mexico, where he began a new life. In Mexico, Edgar was not completely out of his element. He was fluent in Spanish and familiar with Mexican culture, having grown up in a Mexican family. He also had connections, including the nephew of the head of a local drug cartel known as Los Chachos. Edgar paid $60,000 to the local plaza boss, El Chacho, to secure his position in the drug trade. He began transporting cocaine from Colombia and other South American countries into Mexico, with the goal of smuggling it across the U.S. border. To avoid detection, he constantly changed his routes, using motor vehicles, speedboats, and even airplanes to move his product. Bribing authorities became a regular part of his operations, allowing him to continue his activities without interference. Edgar's life of crime continued to thrive until 2000, when a new force emerged in Nuevo Laredo, the Gulf Cartel. This powerful organization gave members of Los Chachos an ultimatum: join them or die. Edgar was one of the few who chose to resist, leading to a deadly conflict with the Gulf Cartel's military arm, Los Zetas. Los Zetas were notorious for their brutality, including torturing and decapitating their victims. They launched a series of attacks on Los Chachos, burning down residences and killing members of the cartel. Faced with this overwhelming force, Edgar decided to retreat. He relocated to the city of Monterrey, further south in Mexico, where he continued his drug-dealing operations. In Monterrey, Edgar managed to bribe a local police officer named Jaime Valdez Martinez, who helped him run his business smoothly. This officer also introduced Edgar to another important contact, allowing him to expand his network and strengthen his position in the drug trade. In Monterrey, Edgar joined forces with a cartel known as ABL, named after its leader, Arturo Beltran Leyva, who was affiliated with the powerful Sinaloa Cartel. Recognizing the need for strong alliances to protect his turf, Edgar sought to build a relationship with Arturo Beltran Leyva. He noticed that Arturo had no horses on his ranch, so Edgar gifted him 3 horses, solidifying their bond. This alliance with Arturo Beltran Leyva and the broader support of the Sinaloa Cartel gave Edgar the backing he needed to reclaim Nuevo Laredo. With the support of ABL and the Sinaloa Cartel, Edgar returned to Nuevo Laredo with a new plan. He secretly purchased residences in the city and assembled a group of 200 men under his command. These men launched surprise attacks on Los Zetas, killing and abducting their members and seizing their properties. The conflict escalated into an all-out war, with both sides engaging in brutal violence. The New York Times reported that the wave of killings turned into a drug war that spread across Mexico, leaving about 1,000 people dead by March 2003. As the violence escalated, Edgar decided to take his fight to the next level. He hired a paramilitary group called Los Negros to launch a full-scale assault on Los Zetas. During this time, Edgar brazenly placed a full-page ad in the Monterrey newspaper, El Norte, presenting himself as a businessman and calling on the president to address the violence and terror in the region. But by 2004, Edgar realized that staying in Nuevo Laredo was too dangerous, so he moved to Acapulco while continuing to wage war from there. In Acapulco, Edgar enforced the Sinaloa Cartel's security group, Los Negros, leading a squad that carried out assassinations, kidnappings, and recruitments. They even enlisted police officers, military personnel, and federal agents to join their cause. The conflict between Los Negros and Los Zetas became a brutal contest of who could outdo the other in violence. In December 2005, a video surfaced showing 4 bloodied men believed to be members of Los Zetas. The video ended with one of the men being shot in the head, possibly as retaliation for the murder of Edgar's brother, Armando Valdez. But LaBarbie's rise to fame also caught the attention of U.S. authorities. They knew he was involved in drug smuggling and had become more dangerous over time. The Drug Enforcement Administration, or DEA, viewed him as a significant trafficker and a key figure in one of Mexico's major drug organizations. As his infamy grew, the U.S. government issued a warrant for his arrest. In December 2006, a new president in Mexico, Felipe Calderón, took office with a promise to tackle the drug cartels. He quickly launched a war against them, sending thousands of soldiers to confront the traffickers. During this time, LaBarbie aligned himself closely with Arturo Beltran Leyva, a powerful cartel leader. LaBarbie became his most trusted soldier and led a group of assassins. But he was also playing a dangerous game, secretly providing information about his enemies to the DEA and FBI. This double life made him a complex figure, feared by his rivals, but also a valuable informant to U.S. authorities. In December 2009, the Mexican government, acting on intelligence, launched a raid that resulted in the death of Arturo Beltran Leyva. With his mentor gone, LaBarbie believed he could take over the cartel, but he faced internal struggles. A civil war erupted within the cartel, and LaBarbie found himself fighting not just rivals, but also those who once were his allies. As the violence escalated, LaBarbie made a drastic decision to spend $200,000 on a movie about his life. But the film was never released, likely because it incriminated him and could have been seen as a confession. In 2010, he received a chilling message from his enemies. 4 decapitated bodies were hung from a bridge in Cuernavaca, with a warning that anyone supporting LaBarbie would meet a similar fate. This message forced him to flee and hide in the mountains near Mexico City. Even though he was hiding, the U.S. authorities did not stop their pursuit. After a year-long search, they finally tracked him down. Surrounded and with no escape, LaBarbie and his guards surrendered without a fight. He was captured and paraded by Mexican police, marking the end of his reign as one of the most feared drug lords in Mexico. LaBarbie was eventually extradited to the U.S., where he faced charges of drug trafficking and money laundering. In 2016, he pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 49 years in prison. He was also ordered to forfeit $192 million, the estimated amount he earned from his criminal activities. Despite his crimes, The U.S. government's handling of his case raised questions, especially when his name suddenly disappeared from the Federal Bureau of Prisons website in 2022. This disappearance sparked rumors and concerns. Some believed he was cooperating with U.S. authorities by providing information on high-ranking cartel members. Others speculated that he was removed from the prison system for his own safety. The Mexican government expressed surprise and demanded answers, but no clear explanation was provided. While he became one of Mexico's most infamous drug lords, his sister pursued a career in law and became a prosecutor. His cooperation with U.S. authorities and his mysterious disappearance raised suspicions about the extent of corruption within both the Mexican and U.S. governments. Whether Labarbe will reveal more secrets or quietly serve his sentence remains to be seen, but his story continues to captivate and disturb those who hear it. Now, before you leave, make sure to give this video a like and also hit that subscribe button while you're down there. Until then, stay safe and keep exploring.
If I had a guess, educated guess at this, he's about ready to testify. And he's about ready to testify probably against other cartel leaders and Mexican officials.